I have a confession. I've always been the type of student who has tried to go from point A to point A plus. So when my 8th grade teacher, Miss Lee, called me a perfectionist, I took it as a badge of honor. To me, it meant success, validation, self-satisfaction. However, now, looking back, I realized that it was a gilded cage. So shiny on the outside, but draining and suffocating on the inside. Raise your hand if you think being perfect is actually a good thing. Thank you. You can lower them. Now, raise your hand if you ever felt the pressure to be perfect. Thank you. Although perfectionism is often portrayed as a positive trait, it is an addictive, endless cycle. It is a gilded cage that leads to inner destruction, broken relationships, and loneliness, making it essential to find the key to break free. So, okay, Lisa, let's pause for a second. We have all heard that in order to land your dream job, have 4.0 GPA, and just be the ideal partner, we all need to be flawless, right? Sometimes we solve the perfect equation as perfect equals good, without really reflecting on the inner destruction it causes. Let's break down perfectionism into 3 categories. First, setting unrealistic expectations for yourself. Second, for others. And third, thinking everybody else has unrealistic expectations for you. We all are vulnerable to developing some, if not all, of these types of perfectionism. In fact, a Harvard study shows that in 2022, 85% of 16 to 25-year-olds in the United States were heavily affected by some of these categories of perfectionism. I mean, it isn't surprising that it's the youth that is heavily affected by it. I mean, in high school, throughout all whole 4 years, we've been constantly told to have 4.0 GPA, have a lot of hours for volunteering, and be the best out of 100 kids in your grade. And throughout our whole life, we truly heard that success is the ultimate guide, the perfection is the ultimate guide for success. However, I'm here to tell you, it is a life scam. Out of those 85%, 52 reported that this perfectionist mindset failed to help them to achieve their goals. I will actually right now demonstrate you an endless typical cycle of perfectionism that takes you further and further away from achieving your goals. Imagine, you need to write an English essay. Well, you're excited about it because, well, it's going to be the best essay your teacher will ever read in their life. And, well, guess what? As you open the essay document, you are struggling to find the perfect sentence for your perfect essay. And then an hour later, you catch yourself reading another how to write a perfect essay that will make my teacher cry tears of joy article. And then after hours and hours of unproductive writing, procrastination kicks in. And now you're just thinking about the font of your essay and trying to find the right font for it. Well, then after you pulling an all-nighter and realizing you did not become a Shakespeare overnight, you feel the feeling of anxiety as you hit the submit button. Well, then when you get your results, you get a B instead of an A. And, well, guess what? That's because not letting it go does not mean a better quality work. And therefore, when you go on to your next assignment, you keep thinking that you got a B because of the quality of your writing and not because of the process of it. So you just end up in this endless cycle of perfectionism. Now that we already addressed how exactly it causes an endless cycle of literally pain in the butt, now let's look at the inner destruction and impact it has on us. Coming back to my gilded cage metaphor, it is quite literally what we experience when we trap ourselves in perfection. We feel depression, loneliness, and anxiety due to the internal isolation that perfectionism carries within itself. If we set a goal, we usually just tend to shift our energy and focus onto that one goal, really putting us in front of a choice, getting an A in an exam or spending time with our loved ones. I personally struggle with that a lot. I mean, there were several times I had to not hang out with my friends to just spend my whole day polishing my essay so my teacher would need to have sunglasses to read it. And this just makes us think about how we fail to balance out our focus on our work, projects, and our relationships, leading to total isolation and then depression and loneliness. The Journal of Indian Psychology examined the correlation between loneliness and perfectionism, looking at 304 college students in the United States, finding out moderate to extremely high level of perfectionism, therefore corresponding levels of loneliness in them. And to add into that, according to Medical News Today, 30% of undergraduate students struggle with depression, and perfectionism has been widely associated with these symptoms. But hey, it's fine, right? I mean, one existential crisis a month is not that big of a deal. I mean, who cares about mental health if I can feel in control and do my best quality work? And this leads us into the main issue we should have with perfectionism. Perfectionism is not only about you. It is actually about how you treat others. It has nothing to do with being a good friend or an ideal partner. Actually, if you would have a perfectionism as your friend, it would sound something like, I think you fold your laundry wrong. Let me send you a 10-step guide on how to do it properly. Or maybe something like, oh, you're watching Netflix? That's kind of procrastination. You know, if you do like 10 squats every 15 minutes, you're probably gonna burn more calories than just like relaxing. Well, sounds a little bit irritating, right? And it shouldn't be only about laundry, Netflix, or procrastination. It can be just you expecting flowers every week from your partner, or your best friend expecting from your best friend to say always the right thing, or even unconditional support from your parents. You see, perfectionism can truly shift how we feel and how we see the relationships. I remember when my dad attended one of my first season volleyball games. The second I got into my car after my game, I heard, sweetie, I think your serves are kind of unstable, and like, I don't think you can really spike. And well, first I thought, seems like we're skipping the good effort part of the post-game dad pep talk, and I felt a little bit betrayed and like I'm not good enough. Well, you see, when we set unrealistic standards for others, we just tend to feel sometimes unheard, unnoticed, like they don't care, and even betrayed and unloved. We just simply stop looking at the realistic things that those people can do. I mean, perfectionism truly can drive us crazy with that, for making us to forget about the we're all humans, we make mistakes part, just turning into out-of-pocket accusations. And besides you having unrealistic standards and being hurt by them, you can also hurt others with the pressures that we sometimes carry. I mean, imagine a perfectionist telling their friend, can you please wear a different outfit and like act more appropriate at the party? I really don't want you to embarrass me. Well, this can push the friend away and feel like you're pressuring them into acting being a certain way they actually aren't. Well, now that we examined all the pressures, unrealistic standards, and harms perfectionism can actually cause on us and our loved ones, let's find finally the solution, the key that can break us free. Well, I'm not talking about lowering our standards. I'm just talking about being realistic. And one of those things that are going to help us with that is self-compassion. Perfectionism targets your self-esteem. It targets your self-worth. And it's really important to find the solution how to fight that. And self-compassion is one of them. But the real question is that, where do you get that from, right? And I call it KUE method. Kindness, understanding, and engagement will truly change how you view your life, your relationships, and even your work. Treat yourself like a loved friend. Honestly, be empathetic to yourself. Just understand that it is okay to make mistakes. When you not choose to be perfect, you actually are choosing your well-being and your mental health. And it is fine. Set realistic goals. Celebrate every small victory. Prioritize yourself and your relationships, not only your goals. perfectionism is a gilded cage that has nothing to do with success because it focuses on the end result and not progress nor process. You are human. It is important to understand we can make mistakes. So, yeah, you're human, and let yourself be human. Thank you.